It didn't start with superstardom or billion-dollar contracts. The NBA's origin, it was rough, raw, and completely unpredictable. Back in 1946, it wasn't even called the NBA. It was the BAA, Basketball Association of America, created by hockey arena owners who just wanted to fill seats on off nights. The very first game, New York Knicks vs. Toronto Huskies, played in front of a confused crowd. Knicks won, barely, by 2 points. But within just 1 year, 4 teams had already folded. The league was shaky, unsure if it would even last. Still, a few names started to shine. Joe Fulks became the first real scoring machine, averaging 23 points a night, which back then felt like Wilt-level domination. He led the Philadelphia Warriors to the first championship, but stability, still missing. By the second year, the BAA had only 7 teams left. Then came a turning point, when they stole major teams from their rival league, the NBL. Most important of all, the Minneapolis Lakers and their superstar, George Mikan. Mikan wasn't just big, he was a force. 30 points a game, dominant rebounding, and a skyhook that was basically unguardable at the time. He made the game feel unfair, too easy. The Lakers, behind Mikan, won multiple titles in a row. It was clear the league had its first face, its first problem. So how did they respond? They literally changed the rules to slow him down. First, they widened the paint. Then again, didn't matter. Mikan just kept scoring. In 1949, the BAA officially merged with the NBL and finally became the National Basketball Association. Now they had 17 teams, but by 1955, just 8 remained. Teams kept folding. Fan interest wavered. The league felt like it was living on the edge. Yet through it all, a few things happened that kept hope alive. The All-Star Game was introduced. Bob Cousy dazzled fans with his ball handling. Paul Arizin lit up scoreboards for Philly, and most importantly, in 1954, the 24-second shot clock was born. That one rule flipped the entire league. Games got faster. Scoring exploded. Fans actually enjoyed watching again. And just like that, basketball felt like a real pro sport. That shot clock, that tiny 24-second timer, might have just saved the NBA. Russell and Wilt era. By the late 50s, the NBA finally found its two faces. Two legends, two opposite styles, and one of the greatest rivalries in sports history. Bill Russell versus Wilt Chamberlain. But before Wilt entered the league, Russell had already started something special. In 1957, a rookie named Bill Russell joined the Boston Celtics. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't a scorer, but he was an absolute defensive monster. He grabbed 30 rebounds in a double overtime Game 7 win that gave Boston their first ever championship. The next year, the Celtics slipped, but only because Russell got injured. Bob Pettit dropped 50 points in the deciding game and stole the title for the street. Louis Hawks. But don't get it twisted, the Celtics were just getting started. In 1959, Boston swept the Lakers in the finals, and Russell's dominance on defense became the blueprint for winning in the NBA. And then, in 1960, the league changed. Wilt Chamberlain arrived. In his rookie season, he averaged 37 points and 27 rebounds. That's not a typo. That's reality. He was unstoppable. Physically bigger, stronger, faster than everyone else. He broke the game. Scoring records started falling like dominoes. He even dropped 100 points in a single game in 1962, a record that still hasn't been touched. But for all his stats, there was one big problem. He couldn't beat Russell. Between 1959 and 1969, Russell's Celtics won 11 championships in 13 years. Yes, you read that right. Meanwhile, Wilt's teams kept falling short, even though he was putting up 50 points per game, grabbing 25 rebounds, and rewriting every record book. It was the perfect contrast. Wilt, the most dominant individual talent. Russell, the ultimate team winner. Russell had Sam Jones, John Havlicek, and the greatest team defense of the era. Wilt had the numbers, but Boston had the banners. In 1967, Wilt finally broke through. Playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, he averaged 24 points, 24 rebounds, and 8 assists. Yes, Wilt was passing now too. The Sixers crushed the Celtics in the East, then beat the Warriors in the finals. It was the first time Wilt truly silenced the critics. But it didn't last long. In 1968, Russell and the Celtics came back, down 3-1 in the series, and beat the Sixers in 7 games. Then beat the Lakers again in the finals. In 1969, the Celtics won one last title, Russell's 11th, and then he walked away from the game. The Wilt versus Russell era shaped the very idea of greatness. Wilt showed what humans were capable of doing on a court. Russell showed what it took to win at the highest level. From slow-paced, low-scoring games to sold-out arenas and double-digit championships, this era laid down the DNA of basketball greatness. Kareem and the ABA era. By the end of the 60s, one era closed, and another giant stepped in. Literally. Lul Singhdor, who the world would soon know as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, entered the league in 1969, and right away, he looked like the future. As a rookie, Kareem averaged nearly 29 points and 15 rebounds per game, and in just his second year, he led the Milwaukee Bucks to 66 wins and a championship alongside Oscar Robertson. He was tall, fluid, smart, and he had a weapon that nobody could stop: the skyhook. Defenders jumped, reached, guessed, but it didn't matter. That shot was pure poetry, unblockable, automatic, and it helped Kareem win MVPs like clockwork. In 1972, while Kareem was still dominating in Milwaukee, the Los Angeles Lakers went on a historic tear. They won 33 straight games, still the longest streak in NBA history. Wilt Chamberlain was there, playing his role. Jerry West finally got his championship. The Lakers were deep, balanced, and powerful, but the league was far from settled. While all this was happening, another league was stealing the spotlight: the ABA. Flashy uniforms, wild dunks, a red, white, blue ball, and most importantly, showmanship. The ABA gave us stars like Julius Dr. J. Irving, who seemed to float instead of jump; George Gervin, the smoothest scorer alive; David Thompson, who felt like a highlight reel before highlights existed. They also introduced the three-point line, the dunk contest, and a whole lot of attitude. While the NBA was still trying to be professional, the ABA was out there having fun, and fans noticed. In 1976, the ABA and NBA finally merged. Four teams joined the league: the Spurs, Nuggets, Pacers, and Nets. But more importantly, the ABA's energy and creativity came with them. Suddenly, the NBA didn't just have size and skill, it had style. Through all of this chaos, one man stayed at the top: Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Whether it was Milwaukee or Los Angeles, Kareem kept putting up MVP numbers. He was the most consistent player of the decade, winning 5 MVPs in the 70s alone. Even if he didn't win the championship every year, his presence made every team a contender. A wild, unpredictable decade. What made the 70s so unique? Simple: anyone could win. No team truly dominated. From the Warriors in '75 to the Blazers in '77, it felt like a new champion every year. Even Bill Walton, known more for injuries than stats, had his moment, leading Portland to its first and only title. You had Rick Barry's crazy finals run, Tiny Archibald leading the league in points and assists, and Boston bouncing back behind Hondo Havlicek. It was a free-for-all decade, but it was fun. The talent pool exploded, the league expanded, and with the ABA's influence, the NBA had a new flavor. By the end of the 70s, Kareem had become the league's best player. The ABA's flash was now part of the NBA's DNA, and the league was ready for a new kind of rivalry, because just around the corner, 2 rookies were coming in and they would change everything. The Magic and Bird era. By the end of the 70s, the NBA was struggling. Ratings were down, drug scandals were up, and fans had lost interest. And then, like destiny, 2 rivals walked in together. Earvin Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, fresh off an epic NCAA title clash, entered the NBA and flipped the script. One went to the Lakers, the other, the Celtics. And just like that, the league had its heroes. In 1979, Magic Johnson landed in LA, and he didn't waste time. As a rookie, he played center in the finals, replacing an injured Kareem, and won finals MVP. A 6 feet 9 inches point guard who passed like a wizard, smiled like a superstar, and brought flair to every play. With Pat Riley on the sideline and Kareem in the paint, the Showtime Lakers were born. Fast breaks, no-look passes, Hollywood vibes. On the East Coast, Larry Bird took Boston from 29 wins to 61 in his first year. He wasn't flashy, he was a grinder. Tough, smart, deadly with the jumper. By 1981, Bird led the Celtics to a championship, combining with Cedric Maxwell, Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale. While Magic danced, Bird dissected. Back and forth battles. Throughout the 80s, the Lakers and Celtics ran the league. They met 3 times in the NBA Finals: 1984, 1985, and 1987. In '84, Bird got the edge in a brutal 7-game series. In '85 and '87, Magic took revenge, including the iconic Junior Skyhook to seal Game 4 in Boston. Their rivalry was everywhere: SportsCenter, commercials, even video games. But it wasn't just about the court, it was racial, cultural, and generational. Magic, black, flashy, West Coast. Bird, white, gritty, Midwest tough. And yet, they respected each other deeply. They made each other better. Their impact? Massive. TV ratings skyrocketed. Arena attendance boomed. Sponsors came flooding in. The NBA became must-watch TV, thanks to Lakers vs. Celtics, Magic vs. Bird. And behind the scenes, a young commissioner named David Stern was planning something big. In 1984, a third name quietly entered the picture: Michael Jordan, a rookie with sky-high hops, insane speed, and a burning fire to dominate. He dropped 28 points per game, won Rookie of the Year, and made it clear he was coming. But the 80s still belonged to Magic and Bird. The Celtics won in '86, steamrolling the league with one of the most dominant teams ever. Bird was unconscious from deep, and their ball movement was surgical. Then the Lakers came back in '87, with Magic winning MVP and the title. And in '88, they became the first team since Russell's Celtics to repeat as champs. The 80s weren't just about rings. It was about flair versus fundamentals, Hollywood versus hard work, Showtime versus strategy, and it worked. Because people didn't just love teams, they loved personalities. Magic, Bird, Isaiah, Kareem, Dr. Even a rising Jordan. The league was now a storytelling machine. The foundation is set. By the end of the 80s, Bird had 3 MVPs and 3 rings, Magic had 3 MVPs and 5 rings, Kareem had become the NBA's all-time leading scorer, and Jordan was waiting in the wings. The NBA had officially become a global show, and this era was the turning point. The Bad Boys in Jordan era. The late 80s were physical, nasty, and right in the middle of all that violence, a storm was building. Before Jordan flew, someone had to knock him down, again and again, and that someone was Detroit. The Detroit Pistons weren't here to entertain. They were here to break you mentally, physically, emotionally. Led by Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, and Bill Laimbeer, the Pistons had one mission. They created a blueprint called the Jordan Rules, a defensive scheme that involved forcing him left, hitting him every time he entered the lane, and never letting him breathe. It was ugly, but it worked. Detroit swept the Lakers in the '89 finals, took down Portland in '90, went back-to-back as champions. Jordan, still putting up numbers, but he couldn't get past them. Yet, by 1991, everything changed. Jordan came back, stronger, smarter, angrier, and with help. Scottie Pippen had leveled up. Horace Grant and John Paxson filled their roles, and Phil Jackson brought the triangle offense that unlocked their full potential. Jordan and the Bulls swept the Pistons' revenge served cold, then beat Magic's Lakers in the finals. That was ring number 1. Then came ring 2 in '92, against Clyde Drexler's Blazers. Jordan hit 6 threes in the first half of Game 1 and gave us the shrug. In '93, it was Charles Barkley's Suns. Didn't matter. Jordan averaged over 40 points in the series and hit the dagger in Game 6. Jordan was now undisputed. Right after his third title, tragedy struck. Jordan's father was murdered. A few months later, Jordan retired from basketball. Just like that, the face of the league was gone. He tried baseball. Meanwhile, the NBA moved on. Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Rockets took control. Back-to-back championships in '94 and '95. Hakeem was unstoppable footwork, finesse, leadership, but the league still felt incomplete until March 1995. Jordan came back. 2 words: I'm back. In 1996, Jordan wasn't just back, he was angry. The Bulls added Dennis Rodman, retooled their bench, and went on a tear, 72-10 record. Still one of the greatest seasons ever. Jordan won MVP, All-Star MVP, Finals MVP, beating Gary Payton's Sonics in 6 games. In '97 and '98, it was Karl Malone and John Stockton's Jazz who tried to stop him, but Jordan delivered every time. The flu game in '97, the Game 6 dagger in '98, over Brian Russell, holding the pose. One hand up, GOAT status sealed. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, never lost in the finals. The face of Nike, the leader of the Dream Team, the inspiration behind Space Jam. The reason the NBA went global, while others played basketball. Jordan defined greatness. By 1998, the Bulls dynasty came crashing down. Phil Jackson left. Pippen got traded. Jordan retired again. It truly was the last dance. The 90s ended with one clear truth: Jordan didn't just dominate an era, he owned it. Kobe and Duncan era. When Jordan walked away in '98, the NBA needed a new king. Instead, it got 3: a 7-foot wrecking ball, a cold-blooded assassin, and the calmest killer the game had ever seen. The silent destroyer. No hype, no headlines, just fundamentals and rings. In 1999, during a lockout-shortened season, Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs took over. With David Robinson, Duncan powered through the playoffs and crushed the Knicks in the finals. He averaged 27 points and 14 rebounds, and just like that, the Spurs dynasty was born. Duncan's game was simple: bank shots, rebounds, blocks, and zero drama. But make no mistake, he dominated. He'd go on to win 5 titles, 3 finals MVPs, and become the definition of consistency, the unstoppable duo. While Duncan was quiet and steady, Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant were loud, fast, and fearless. The Lakers hired Phil Jackson in 2000, and everything clicked. Shaq turned into a full-blown monster. He won MVP and Finals MVP, dominating the paint like it was his house. Kobe, still young, showed flashes of superstardom, clutch, athletic, relentless. Together, they've won 3 straight titles: 2000, 2001, 2002. Went 15-1 in the 2001 playoffs, one of the most dominant runs ever, became the most feared duo in the NBA. But behind the scenes, tension was brewing. Ego versus legacy. Shaq wanted respect. Kobe wanted the keys. By 2004, after a finals loss to the Detroit Pistons, it all blew up. Shaq was traded to Miami. Kobe stayed in LA, and the dynasty ended, but both were far from done. Duncan stays calm, keeps winning, while the Lakers crumbled. The Spurs just kept rolling. In 2003, Duncan dominated the Nets in the finals. In 2005, he outlasted the Pistons in a gritty 7-game war, and in 2007, he swept the young LeBron James in the finals. No trash talk, no drama, just banners. The Spurs became the blueprint for team-first basketball defense, ball movement, and leadership. But 2006 belonged to someone else, D-Wade. With Shaq in Miami, Wade took over the finals against the Mavericks. He averaged 34, 7 points and led a comeback from 0-2 to win the title. It was one of the most clutch finals performances ever, and Wade officially became a superstar. After Shaq left, many questioned if Kobe could win alone. In 2008, he made the finals, but lost to the Celtics. But in 09 and 10, he answered. 2009, dominated Dwight Howard's Magic, Finals MVP. 2010, beat the Celtics in a brutal 7-game series, another Finals MVP. Kobe now had 5 championships, 2 without Shaq, and he proved what he always believed. I don't want to be the next Jordan. I just want to be Kobe. This era was deeper than just titles. It was about 3 different types of greatness. Shaq's raw power, Kobe's relentless obsession, Duncan's quiet domination. And around them, the next generation was warming up. LeBron, Wade, Melo, Nash, Dirk, KG, CP3, Dwight Howard, all climbing. But from 1999 to 2010, if you wanted a ring, you had to go through Duncan, Shaq, or Kobe. The LeBron and Big 3 era. By 2010, the NBA had superstars everywhere, but one decision changed everything. LeBron James, after 7 dominant but ringless years in Cleveland, became a free agent. And instead of just signing somewhere, he went on live TV and said, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach." Just like that, a super team was born, and so was the most hated player in the NBA, the Miami Heat super team. LeBron teamed up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. 3 All-Stars. One mission, not 1, not 2, not 3. The league had never seen anything like it. They were flashy, dominant, and unapologetic. But the backlash was real. Every arena booed LeBron. Every analyst questioned his heart. The pressure? Unmatched. The 2011 collapsed their first year. They made the finals. And then, they choked. Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallas Mavericks stunned them. Dirk got revenge for 2006, while LeBron disappeared in the clutch. People called him overrated, soft, not a closer. But that loss? It flipped a switch. In 2012, LeBron came back different. More focused, more dangerous. They stormed through the season, crushed the Thunder in the finals. LeBron won his first ring, Finals MVP, and silenced the hate in 2013. They took it even further. A 27-game win streak. LeBron won his 4th MVP. Ray Allen's clutch 3-pointer in Game 6 versus the Spurs. Back-to-back champions. LeBron had officially entered his prime. But the league was catching up. The Spurs weren't done. They were older, but smarter. In 2014, they came back with a vengeance, led by Kawhi Leonard, with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili still deadly. They crushed the Heat in 5 games. Ball movement, precision, revenge. And just like that, the Heat dynasty was over. LeBron leaves Miami 2014. After 4 finals, 2 rings, and endless spotlight, LeBron decided to go home, back to Cleveland, back to where it started. But this time, he wasn't just going back, he was going back with power. He'd bring players with him, he'd make moves, and he'd try to deliver a championship to a city that had never seen one. Why this era mattered. The Big 3 era wasn't just about banners. It was about players taking control of their careers, narratives shifting from loyalty to legacy, media becoming a battlefield. LeBron wasn't just chasing rings, he was redefining what a superstar could do. And after 2014, the league was ready for a storm of new stories. Warriors era and the 3-point revolution. In 2015, the gravity of the NBA changed. This time, it wasn't about Shaq's power or Jordan's air. It was a skinny guard who ruled the league with a shooting range that started at half court. Stephen Curry, the man who turned warm-ups into highlight reels and changed basketball forever. Steve Kerr became head coach. He gave the Splash Brothers freedom to shoot from anywhere. Curry was draining threes off the dribble. Klay Thompson dropped 37 points in a single quarter. Draymond Green ran the offense like a point forward. Result: 67-15 record. Curry wins MVP. Warriors beat LeBron's Cavs in the finals, their first title in 40 years. But let's not forget Kyrie and Love were injured. People asked, can they do it again against a healthy LeBron? Spoiler, they were just getting started. 73 wins, 1 painful loss. 2016 Warriors were unstoppable. 73-9 record, the best in NBA history. Curry, unanimous MVP, ball movement, defense, shooting, poetry and motion. They breezed through the West and took a 3-1 lead over Cleveland in the finals. And then, LeBron blocked. Kyrie hit. Warriors broke. Game 7. Cleveland won. LeBron delivered his promise. And the Warriors' dream season became a nightmare ending. After the collapse, Golden State said, never again. So they signed Kevin Durant, one of the best scorers in NBA history. And that was it. Game over. 2017 Finals. Warriors went 16-1 in the playoffs. KD won. Finals MVP. LeBron had no answer. They ran it back in 2018. Same result. Durant dominated. Steph torched. Dynasty confirmed. Back-to-back titles. 4 All-Stars. 0 weakness. In 2018, LeBron joined the Lakers, but the West was loaded, and LA was in rebuild mode. Curry, KD, and the Warriors were still running the league. The only real competition? Houston Rockets. In 2018, James Harden and Chris Paul almost pulled it off, taking Warriors to 7 games. But Chris Paul got injured, and Houston missed 27 threes in a row in Game 7. Warriors survived barely. In 2019, things finally cracked. KD tore his Achilles, Klay tore his ACL. Raptors, led by Kawhi Leonard, took full advantage. Toronto won their first ever championship. And just like that, the most dominant modern team collapsed in one finals. KD left for Brooklyn, Klay out, Curry injured. The Warriors' era was over. Every team now prioritized three-point shooting. Centers had to shoot or pass. The league got faster, smaller, and smarter. Steph Curry wasn't just changing games, he was changing generations. From kids at the park to NBA draft boards, can he shoot, became the first question. The bubble, Giannis, and the next generation. 2020 wasn't just another season. It was chaos, uncertainty, silence. The world shut down. So did the league. But the NBA did something nobody expected. It created a bubble and isolated, no fans, all hoops battlefield in Orlando, Florida. No distractions, no home court, just basketball. And in that silence, greatness echoed louder than ever. With the season on hold for months, nobody knew who would come back ready. Some stars collapsed. Some disappeared. But one man locked in like never before, LeBron James. Alongside Anthony Davis, LeBron led the Lakers through the bubble with laser focus, beat the Blazers, Rockets, Nuggets, then dominated Jimmy Butler's Heat in the finals. LeBron won his 4th title and 4th Finals MVP. Many called it a bubble ring, but if anything, it was harder mentally, emotionally, physically, because in the bubble, you couldn't hide behind crowds or hype. It was pure basketball, while the bubble belonged to LeBron. 2021 was all about Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Milwaukee Bucks had failed in the past. People doubted if Giannis could lead in the clutch. He answered all that and more. Came back from a scary knee injury, dropped 50 points in Game 6 of the finals, dominated both ends of the floor, gave the Bucks their first title in 50 years. No super team, no ring chasing, just loyalty, work, and domination. I don't want to join a super team, I want to beat them. Giannis, Mike, dropped. By 2022, the league started feeling different. Young stars were no longer just future pieces, they were taking over now. Jason Tatum led Boston to the finals, Luka Doncic was putting up video game numbers, Ja Morant was flying over centers, Devin Booker, Trae Young, LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, all rising. But in the end, 2022 was about redemption. The Golden State Warriors, left for dead after injuries and doubt, came back. Steph Curry played like a man possessed, dropped 43 in Game 4 of the finals, won his 4th title, and first Finals MVP. The kid who changed the league proved he could still finish the story. The game is evolving. The post-bubble era taught us, toughness matters more than ever. Stars can rise faster than before, and the crown isn't guaranteed to anyone. From empty gyms to packed arenas, from doubters to dynasties, this stretch was messy, emotional, and incredibly human. The modern era. Wemby, Jokic, and the future of basketball. The game used to be simple. Big guys played in the paint. Small guys handled the ball. But now, everyone does everything. And the NBA has never looked like this before. At first glance, Nikola Jokic doesn't look like the future. He doesn't jump high. He doesn't run fast. But put the ball in his hands, and he sees things no one else does. In 2023, He led the Denver Nuggets to their first ever NBA championship, averaged a triple-double in the playoffs, broke records without even trying, dominated with footwork, patience, and vision, and showed the world that basketball IQ is a superpower. He became the first center since Shaq to completely own a playoff run, and he did it without yelling, flexing, or talking trash. Just basketball, on genius mode. And then came Victor Wembanyama, a 7 feet 4 inches rookie who blocks like Gobert, shoots like KD, and dribbles like a guard. People thought he was hype, until he started doing things the league had never seen. Step back threes at 7 foot 4, weak side blocks from the opposite corner, Euro steps through traffic, and a handle smoother than most guards. Wemby isn't just good, he's redefining what a basketball body can do. Modern game equals skill plus size plus smart. This era isn't about just being tall or quick, it's about making the right decisions, spacing the floor, being able to pass, shoot, and switch on defense. That's why you see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dominating with pace and mid-range control, Luka Doncic running the floor like a chess master, Anthony Edwards rising as the next alpha scorer, Tyrese Halliburton, Cade Cunningham, and others blending old-school playmaking with modern efficiency. No one-trick players anymore. The league is global now. From Jokic, Serbia, to Giannis, Greece, to Wemby, France. The NBA isn't just America's league, it's the world's league. More than ever, kids from everywhere believe they can make it. Scouts are watching worldwide, and international basketball is setting the pace. Direct hit, what's next? We're in a unique time. The GOATs of yesterday, LeBron, KD, Steph, are still here. But the future stars, Wemby, Luka, Shai, Anthony, are already taking over. There's no clear best player. No unbeatable team, just endless potential. And that's what makes this era so exciting. Every game feels like the past, present, and future colliding. The evolution never stops. From dusty gyms in 1946 to billion-dollar arenas in 2025, the NBA has grown through eras, legends, and revolutions. Every decade changed the game. Every star redefined what was possible. But one thing never changed. Basketball always finds a way to evolve, and we'll always keep watching.